Okay. Good morning, friends. This is Madhu from Madhu Tech Skills Computer Education, and I'm the founder of Madhu Tech Skills Computer Education, and I'm the MD of Querina Software Solutions Private Limited. Okay, guys, I have total 14 plus years of experience in both giving trainings and developing softwares. I started my career in 2005 as a faculty member in renowned computer education in Vijayawada. I have worked there for 2 years, and after that I have got job in KBN College as a faculty in MCA department. Actually, at the time of working there itself, I have started my computer education just like a tuition point, and after working there for 2 years, I have resigned to that job, and I'm only into the teaching side in my computer education itself. In 2014, I have started my company called Querina Software Solutions Private Limited, and I'm the MD of Querina Software Solutions Private Limited. Now, okay, this is the experience. While the means in the total 14 plus experience, I worked in 2 companies also. Even one is Iris Software Solutions Private Limited, and another one is CA Technologies, Bangalore. Just a moment, I am getting the yes. Yes, that's fine, I think. Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. Okay, I have total 14 plus years of experience, right? So meanwhile, I have worked in 2 companies also. Even one is Iris Software Solutions Private Limited, and another one is CA Technologies, Bangalore. Okay, guys, I have given even lots of seminars and workshops also I have given. So this is my experience. This is about myself, a brief introduction about myself. Okay, this is my first YouTube live session. Yeah, let us start our class. Yeah, what is our class? Today we are going to cover some basics or some introduction about core Java. We know that, yeah, can anybody tell me what is a core Java? What is Java, or we can say, we know that, yeah, tell me what is Java. I think everybody knows this answer, right? Java is a programming language. We know that Java is a programming language. Okay, what is a programming language then? So Java is a programming language. Then what is a programming language? Simple. See, my friends, I am interacting with you all by using a language called English, right? So to interact with other person, we use languages like Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Malayali, Sanskrit, Devanagari, Spanish, English, Urdu. Like that, we use different languages to interact with others, right? Yes, like that. If you want to interact with the computer, what we have to learn? Which language we have to learn? That is called programming language. So we learn programming languages to interact with computers. This is the simple answer. Okay? Okay, nice. So that means we are learning Java. Java is a programming language to interact with a electronic device, to interact with the computer. So Java is a Programming language. So next my question is, what is a language? Simple. It is a medium which is used to interact with others, right? So it is a medium or an interface which is used to interact with others. So if you want to interact with others, we need to learn language. So it is a medium or an interface, right? So like that. What is a programming language then? I told you, right? What is a programming language? Simple. It is also a medium or an interface, but which is used to interact with an electronic device or a computer. So to interact with computer, we have to learn a programming language. That's it. Yeah. So how many programming languages are there? So many programming languages are there. Everybody knows that C is very popular language, right? C, C++, Java, Python, R, PHP. Even we have different scripting languages also, JavaScript, shell script, etc. Even comes to .NET, VC++.NET, C#.NET, ASP.NET. Like that we have different languages. What is the use of these languages? We know that to interact with computer. Now my question is, why I have to interact with the computer? Is it necessary to interact with computer? At present we are interacting with humans, right? We are interacting with humans, that's enough, right? Is it necessary to interact with computer? Yes, absolutely. Why? So let us say we have a person, I have a friend called Ram. So I have asked Ram Anil is my friend actually, he's also my student. So I have asked Ram Anil, hey Ram Anil, just tell me what is 10 plus 10. Simply he will give the answer, right? That is 20. Again I have asked the question, what is 2 into 3? Yeah, 2 into 3 means 2 3s are 6, okay, that's it. Very good, nice, good answer. Can you tell me what is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 plus 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10? Oh, he has to think, right? So if the task is little bit difficult, human is not able to performing it, right? So that's why to perform such a task, which type of tasks? The tasks which cannot be performed within less time. The tasks or operations which is very difficult for the human to perform seconds. Yes, he can do the addition, even though it is a bigger one, takes time, right? He is a human, right? Yes, like that computer also do the tasks, but within very less time, within nanoseconds of time, computer can perform any task. This is the only reason to interact with the computer? So we are talking about why we have to interact with the computer, right? So we are talking about why I have to interact with the computer. Hey, to perform tasks within less time, to perform any type of arithmetic operations. It might be a very big or even computer can perform it. To perform an operation, a task in very less time, very less time. We know that computers has more memory than us, right? They can store large amount of data, terabytes of data, zettabytes of data even. So large amount of data we can store in a computer, but we can't store in memory. If you store some data in a computer, yes, after some decades also, after hundreds of years, after thousands of years, you can get the data. But you need to maintain like that. We have the different solutions for that. Yeah, you know, cloud computing is there. Many servers they are using. They are not storing the data in a particular computer, in a single computer. They are distributing the data to many servers. If one system gets failed, in the remaining servers the data will be stored. So like that we have many ways to store the data for decades, for years, for thousands of years. So that is not possible with a human, right? So we have many advantages with the computer. That's why we need to interact with the computer. We need to interact with the computer to perform big operations at very less time. To store what amount of data you want, you can store. Whenever you want to get, you can get. But how do you do that? How do you tell the computer to do all these things? Hey computer, please do the 10 plus 2, 10 plus 10. Yeah, I'm asking the computer, right? So Ramanil, to the Ramanil I've asked the question, hey Ramanil, can you tell me 10 plus 20? He said 30. At the same time, I would like to interact with the computer like that. Just like I'm interacting with a human, in the same manner, I would like to interact with the computer. For that, you need to learn a programming language. So a programming language is also a medium, just like other languages, other human languages, to interact with the computer. That's what I would like to inform you. I would like to tell you. I think it's clear, right? To why we have to interact with the computer, to store data, to retrieve data, and etc. Okay, so can I ask the computer to perform a task now? I'll show you. See, if you are familiar with C language, in C language I am going to write a program which tells the computer to perform an operation. It's very easy, everybody knows that. Just I am telling the computer to do some task through a programming language, which is already almost everybody of you know that, right? So that's why I am just using emulated Turbo C++. I am opening it, please see this. Yes, so I am going to write a small, very simple program here. Hash include stdio.h. So see, I am talking with you all with English, right? So you are able to understand my language because it is a human language. But here I am writing a C language. C language has some rules, just like other languages, just like Telugu, just like Tamil, just like Kannada, just like Hindi. You have to follow some rules to interact with others, right? You can't directly talk without having grammar rules, right? So you need to follow some rules like that. In C also some rules will be there, you have to follow it. Okay? Include .h. Are we discussing about C or are we discussing about Java? We are discussing about Java. But meanwhile, I am telling you, I am introducing you how to write a program in C, and through that program or through that language, I would like to instruct the computer to perform a task. That is my thought now. Okay? So let us write a function. Yeah, it is a function. It has a name. Okay, and it has a return type. In this function, I am going to write. Okay, I would like to perform a task, that is addition operation. Int a equal to 10, comma b equal to 20, and c is equal to 0. And let me clear the screen if the console monitor has any old output. and after that I would like to perform an addition operation. See, this is an instruction to the computer. I am telling the computer to store 10 in A. I am telling the computer to store 20 into B. I am telling the computer to store 0 into C. That is the only thing I am telling to the computer? No. I am telling to the computer to allocate memory for A first. Computer allocates memory for A, 2 bytes memory, because it is int type variable, and 2 bytes memory for B because it is int type variable, 2 bytes for C because it is int type variable. So I have declared 3 integer variables, which means I am telling the computer, hey computer, please allocate memory for ABC. Remember, and assign 10 to the A, 20 to the B, 0 to the C. That's what I am instructing the computer by using the C language. Like this, in Java also, if you learn Java, Java is a language, right? If you learn Java, by using Java also I can give the instructions to the computer to do allocations, memory allocations. I can also instruct the computer to assign values to those memory allocations. Okay? And I am instructing the computer to clear the screen. To clear the screen means that output screen. In C, if you don't clear the screen, previous output will be displayed in the console monitor itself. So by using CLRS here, what I am saying is, hey computer, please clear the screen. That's what I am saying. So computer will clear the screen, and we need to give the instruction for everything. Even here I am telling the computer to perform A plus B. What is that A plus B? It is an addition operation, we know that. It is an addition operation, right? So it is an addition operation, we know that. We are asking the computer to perform addition operation on A and B. Yes, A contains 10, B contains 20, 10 plus 20, 30, we know that, right? 30 will be assigned to the C. Now, I am going to print C here. See this? Comma, C, percentage D. C is equal to percentage D. And no need to write get ch to see the output, but it's better. Yeah, what is it? Printf. I am asking the computer to print C value. It will print on console monitor, that's it. So how many instructions I have given total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 instructions I have given to the computer in a language. Which language? C language. So I have learned C language to interact with the computer, right? I have given 5 instructions. It will perform that instruction. Let us compile it first. Compilation means we know that checking the program, whether the program is written perfectly or not, with the rules, with the syntax rules. Every language has a rules, right? Like even English also has rules to interact with others. Without following those grammar rules, we cannot interact with others. Like that, in C also we will have some rules. Those rules are called as syntax rules. We need to follow that syntax. So that's why I'm just checking whether I have written the correct program or not, whether I have followed the syntax rules or not. Okay, everything is perfect. 0 warnings, 0 errors. Now I am giving I am running the code, which means I have given 5 instructions to the computer. Computer executed 5 instructions. At last, computer has given a result to us, that is equal to 30. That's it. What I have asked the computer? Hey computer, allocate memory for ABC. And hey computer, perform the addition, store the result in C, and print it to us. That's it. That's what the computer did, right? So let me close this session. Close this program. Okay, let us save this program. Demo.c. .cpp. Okay, it's okay. So done. So I have written a program. Which program I have written? C program. So C is a language, programming language, which is also used to interact with a computer. Are you ready? See, now I am writing, or I am using another programming language, Python. I am using Python. Open the command prompt. Yeah, I have opened the command prompt. Type py or Python. See, here I can write the program. Compared with other languages, giving commands or giving instructions to the computer is little bit easier, like this: 10 plus 20, enter, that's it, program is done. What I have asked to the computer, hey, what is the value of 10 plus 20? Computer is saying 30. Is it not an interaction? It is an interaction, right? I am giving 10 and 20, and also I have given a symbol called plus. That's what I have asked to the computer. So computer is giving like 30. So to the Ramanil, I have given a big task, right? Addition operation: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you tell me what will be the output? That is the output. That's it. How much time it takes? Very less time, right? So that type of operations we can perform very easily. This is Python language. I've already shown you that C language. C is a programming language used to interact with the computer. By using that language, I can make the computer do many tasks. Here by using Python also I am doing the same thing. Then can't we do with Java? Yes, by using Java also we can do that. Okay, by using Java also we can do the same thing, but we need to install Java, and after that we can do that. I haven't installed Java in my computer still, because I'll show you how to install Java. That's why I haven't installed that one. So let us give some introduction. So what is Java then? Java is a programming language, just like C or Python or C++ like that, which is used to interact with the computer. Clear? Now, sir, which language a computer understands? Is it a C language? Is it a C++ language? Is it a Java language? Is it a Python? Is it a PHP? Is it an HTML or JavaScript or shell script? Which type of language the computer understands? Hey, it's simple answer. It is very simple answer. Everybody knows that. Computer is an electronic device. We know that, right? Computer is an electronic device. We know that. Which means computer understands on, off, on, off. Except on and off, computer understands nothing. Remember this point. Except on and off, computer understands nothing. Oh, then how I am able to interacting with the computer? See, if you observe the computer, if you see the previous examples, what, sorry, I want water, nobody is there. Okay, if you want to interact with the computer, I've used C and C++, sorry, I've used C and Python now. There I am not writing on off, say what you call on off instructions. I'm just directly writing the program in English. In C, if you observe, that is English. In Python also I have written instructions, that is also English. Really, is it true that computer understands that English? No, not at all. Computer cannot understand English or Telugu or Tamil, whatever the human language we have. Those languages are not understandable by the computer. It's fixed. Don't have any other option, because it is an electronic device. It understands only ones and zeros. On, off. 1 means on, 0 means off. Ones and zeros only understandable by the computer. Then my doubt is, how I am able to interact with the computer by using C or C++ or Java? In those three languages, or in different languages, in programming language, we are writing, the code looks like English, not ones and zeros. How the computer is able to understand that one? Simple answer, we know that. I think many of you who are listening online class knows this answer, right? Computer understands ones and zeros only, means it is called machine language. Remember this point. What is it? Computer understands, let us say it is a computer, okay? It is a computer. Okay. We know that computer understands. Computer understands only machine language, means ones and zeros, that's it. But you are writing a program in C or Python or Java. So let us say it is a program. We know that program is nothing but collection of statements. A program contains set of statements. See, I have written a C program, demo.c program. If you observe that program, I have written in the main function, I have written 5 statements. That is called C program. A program contains set of statements like this, hash include, or we can say void main, okay, a comma equal to 10, okay, enough. A small program, printf %d comma a small program I have written here. So this is the code which I have written. Actually it is a C program, a C file. C program contains set of statements which are written in English, right? Which are written in English. But computer understands ones and zeros. Is it directly possible? Which means the computer, can computer understand this language directly? No, not at all. So that's why Java inventors, C inventors, C++ inventors, all these people also invented translators. They have given translators. For C, we will have separate translator. For C++, we will have separate translator, which translates our program, which is written in high level language, to the machine language. So we need what? We need some translators. Without having the translator, our computer cannot understand our code, which is written in Java or Python or some or any other language, or in any other language. So what it is? Now it is a translator. So what is the job of translator? Translator translates the source code. Source code means the code which is written by us into machine code. Machine code means ones and zeros. Okay, 111010110110, okay, like that. So who converts the source code, means which is written in English, into machine language? This translator will do that operation. Simple. That's it. So which means translator is must. Can you tell me, I think many of you familiar with translators, right? What is a translator? If anybody asks you what is a translator, can you tell me what will be the answer? What is translator? Translator is also a software, or we can say program, which translates source code into machine language. That's it. Source code into machine language or binary code. Binary code means ones and zeros. Yeah. What is a translator? A translator is a software or a program which translates one language, like high level language, into another language, like machine language. So translator job is translation, right? That's it. For this you can take a basic example. What is that? You are all know about English. I know Telugu only. So I need to interact with you all. What I'll do then? Simple. I'll keep a translator. That's it. That person will translate our Telugu language. If I talk oksari hi cheppu, that's what I've used. I've used a Telugu word. Then that person translates, Madhu said hi. Bagunara. The translator tells, how are you doing? Is everything is okay? So I am talking in Telugu, but somebody is translating to you in English. So okay, here that somebody is a translator. Like that, we need translator to convert our code, which is written in C or C++ or Java or Python or PHP, whatever it may be, or etc., 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 those languages into machine languages. So how many translators are there then? Everybody knows this answer, right? How many translators are there? How many translators are there? Can you tell me? Total, we have 3 types of translators. How many types of translators are there? How many types of translators are there? We have 3 types of translators. Many of you know that, I think. One is compiler. It is one translator. And second one is interpreter. And third one is assembler. So compiler is one translator, interpreter is another translator, assembler is another translator. Yeah, when we use assembler and when or where we use interpreter and when we use a compiler. 3 are different types of translators, remember this thing. 3 are not same. If all these 3 are same, why we have 3 types? We'll have 1 type, right? Okay, so we have 3 types means 3 behaves differently. Some difference will be there among all these three translators. So I would like to tell you a simple about a simple translator, that is assembler. Assembler is a translator which translates assembly language into machine code. So let us say you have written a code in assembly language. I think in my notes we have that assembly language code I have placed somewhere, I think. I would like to show you that one. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Is it assembly language or basic? I don't know. I need to see it. Yeah, basic language. This is basic language. Sorry. Okay. So, okay, assembly language. If you write the code in assembly language, like let us say you have written a code in assembly language. So, whatever the code you have written, that is in assembly language. Assembly language is also called as actually low level language, just like machine language. Okay, so you have written some code in assembly language like this, and assembly language is not a machine language, remember this. Assembly language, in assembly language most of the cases we use mnemonics. Mnemonics means just like words. To do addition operation actually we use plus symbol, right? But in assembly language we use just like add. To subtract we use word sub. To store result we use a word called res in a variable. If you want to store a result in a variable, we have to use a keyword like word called, that is called mnemonic actually, res. Like that we need to use some words little bit different. In general we don't use add word to make an addition for arithmetic operations, right? We can't use mul to multiply two numbers, right? But in assembly language we write like that. Okay, it is little bit difficult compared with high level languages, and it is more easier than machine language because we write machine language in ones and zeros, right? That's why. So if you want to convert assembly language, if you want to execute assembly language in a computer, this code has to be transferred into machine language. Then only computer understands, right? Then only computer executes and gives the results to us. So to translate assembly language into machine language, we use a translator called assembler. Assembler translates assembly language into machine language. This is source code. That's it. Source code will be translated into machine language. Who translates that? Assembler will translate that. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. What about compiler then? Now we have discussed about only assembler. So what about compiler? I would like to inform you about compiler also even, okay? How compiler works actually, how compiler behaves or works. Okay. So what is a compiler? Compiler is also translator, we know that. Compiler is a translator, we know that. Yes, okay. So what is the difference between an assembler and a compiler? Assembler translates assembly language into machine language, right? But compiler translates high level languages into machine languages. But what is the behavior? What is the mannerism of this compiler? Every person has a mannerism, right? See, like ANR in Telugu industry. So some style will be there. That is called mannerism. Hey, Seema, something. Shah Rukh Khan has some mannerism, right? Even Amitabh Bachchan has some mannerism. Like that, even Chiranjeevi has some mannerism. Pawan Kalyan has some mannerism. Balaya, some mannerism. Balaya Babu, Balakrishna, okay, like that. Everybody has some different style. Even Nagarjuna has some style. That is called mannerism. If anybody acts like that, you would say, yeah, you are acting like Amitabh Bachchan, you are acting like Chiranjeevi, you are acting like Pawan Kalyan. Like that, you will give the answers, right? You can identify that person, right? Like that, can we identify the compiler by seeing its behavior? Yes, it's possible. That's called mannerism in my point of view. See, compiler. What is the use of compiler? I'll tell you some hints about the compiler. Okay, one, compiler can compile the program and also can run the code. Compiler can be used for compilation and also used at the time of executing also. Another mannerism of compiler is see why I am telling this. Compiler is used to compile the program. If you are using interpreter is also a translator, but by using it you cannot compile the program. You will directly execute the program. See, one common thing about compiler and interpreter is compiler is also used to translate high level language into machine language, because if you write the code in C or C++ or Java, that has to be translated into machine language. For that you can use compiler or interpreter. Even if you want to translate high level language into machine language, you can use either compiler or interpreter, because both translators are used to convert high level language into machine language. But what is the difference then? Is there any other difference between compiler and interpreter? Yes, we have other difference. By using compiler we can compile the program, but by using interpreter we cannot compile the program. Please remember this point. Interpreters are always used to run the programs without any compilation. Without compilation is required. No need of any compilation is needed. Directly give the program, it will execute the code. That's it. Compiler doesn't know anything else. Interpreter doesn't know anything else. Interpreter always tries to run the program. If you get a program, if I am the interpreter, I'll ask you, hey, do you have the program? I'll execute it. If I am the compiler, I'll tell you, hey, I have two options. Do you want me to compile the program or run the program? So I am the compiler. I can compile the program first. Let us check whether you have written any a program without following some syntax rules or not. Let us compile the code. If the code contains errors, I won't execute if the code contains errors. First checking is compulsory. I am the compiler. What I'll do? Yes, I'll check the program first. If checking is done and everything is perfect, then only I'll run the program. That's what compiler actually tells us. So compiler is a translator which translates high level language into machine language, but it is compiler executes the code only after compilation. What is compilation? Got it? What is compilation? Checking our program whether we have followed syntax rules perfectly or not. If you haven't followed the syntax rules, you will get an error at the compilation time itself, and the code won't get executed. That's it. But comes to interpreter, if you get the code, okay, hey, do you have the code? I'll run the program, no problem. Sir, there is a chance to have some errors. No need of errors, don't think of it. I don't compile it, I'll directly execute it. If you got errors at the runtime, well, I'll get errors. Okay, that's it. Like that, interpreter thinks. Okay, interpreter always thinks like, got my point? Directly executes the code. If any syntax errors are there in program, at the time of program execution, we'll get errors. That is the that is the main difference between compiler and interpreter. So compiler can be used for compilation and also used to execute the code. Second mannerism of compiler is, I've seen everywhere. For example, in C, we compile the program, right? See, for that I think I have an image. I'll show you. Just a moment. Just a moment, please. Yes. Yeah, this one, this image. Please see this. Yeah, this one. C. In C, to compile the program, we use the compiler. To run the program also, we use the compiler. Okay. So, if you write the C program, first we need to compile it. By using which translator I can compile the program, can you tell me? We have three translators, right? Compiler, interpreter and assembler. Among these three translators, only compiler is suitable to compile the program. Without, means interpreter cannot compile the program, assembler cannot compile the program, but compiler can compile the program, which means it can check the program whether your program is correct or not, whether your program is following the syntax errors or not. So, what is the advantage? Why I am checking? If it has syntax errors, is it what do you call? Is it sense that we run the program with errors? Is it correct? No, we can't run the program with errors, right? So just I am checking before executing. In C, we'll have the command called Alt F9. We know you already knows this. I think everybody knows this command, right? Alt plus F9 used to compile the program. Control F9 to run the code. So if we give the Alt F9 command, source code means the C program will be converted into object code. See, I am using a compiler to compile the program. After, what is the job of compiler? Compiler checks for total program. It checks the total program. If no errors is occurred, compiler translate that code into another code and put that code in a separate file. That is another mannerism. What is that mannerism? Compiler always, that's what I would like to say. Compiler always place the translated code in a separate file, or sometimes, it's very rare case, sometimes in a buffer. But it always stores the translated data in separate place. It might be a file, it might be a buffer or somewhere else. But here in C, if you compile the code, yes, compiler checks the code, and if it contains no errors, then the source code will be translated into object code, and that object code will be placed in 1.obj file. So, at the time of compilation, compiler checked it and translated into object code and placed it in a object file, .obj file. Okay. Compiler, another advantage of compiler or another mannerism of compiler. Compiler translates the total code at a time. Compiler translates the total code at a time. If the code has 100 statements, compiler checks all the statements, and after checking, if it finds no errors, then compiler translates total 100 statements at a time into the object code or machine code, like that. So compiler translates the total code at a time. Third point. So which means translation is faster. So compiler translates, so that means it is faster than other translators. And it displays all the errors at a time. See, I'll show you that one. In C we use compilers actually. Demo.c. No, I'd like to save it as demo dot C. Okay, I missed the semicolon and I haven't used plus, even I missed a comma here. So like that, I have written this program with some errors. Now I am giving command Alt F9. Okay, see this, compile, Alt F9, click it. Who is showing these errors? Compiler. Compiler is a translator. So C inventors Dennis Ritchie has provided a C compiler. Do you know what is the meaning of installing C software? Which means installing C compiler. Okay, so C compiler is checking for our program. If it has errors, it is showing the errors and not converting this code into object code. So now I'll give, see how many errors it has displayed? All the errors, 3 warnings, 3 errors. So that's what I would like to say actually. Compiler displays all the errors at a time. Compiler displays all the errors at a time. It is faster also. Compiler translates the total code at a time. After translating the code, it will place the code in a separate file. See, you have given the compilation command right here. Open it, open that C program. We know that C is a compiled programming language. Why C is called as compiled programming language? Do you know that? Because to convert C code or source code, okay, to convert C code into mission code, we use compiler. That's why it is called as compiled programming language. In C++, we use compiler to convert C++ code into mission code. That's why C++ is also called as compiled programming language. To convert Java code into mission code, we actually use 2 translators: compiler for compilation, interpreter for execution. That's why it is called as compiled and interpreted programming language. And PHP, to convert PHP code into mission code, we use a translator called interpreter. That's why it is interpreted language. Python, to convert the Python code into mission language, we use interpreter. That's why Python is called as interpreted language. There we won't compile the code. HTML, interpreted language. Have you ever compiled the HTML code? No, right? JavaScript is also interpreted language. Have you ever compiled the JavaScript code? If you already know about it, no, we won't compile the code. Where we are using interpreter, there no compilation will be there. Directly will execute it. That's it. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, R programming language, even Python, all these are called as interpreted languages. Okay, interpreted languages. Okay, which languages are called as interpreted languages? Where we use interpreter to translate high level language into machine language, those languages are called as interpreted languages. If you are using compiler to translate the source code into or high level code into machine code, those languages are called as compiled programming languages. So C, C++ are compiled programming languages. Python, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, R, PHP are interpreted languages. But in Java, we use 2 translators. For compilation, compiler; to execute the code, interpreter. That's why C is called as, in some books, some people said that Java is a compiled and interpreted programming language. Okay, so I am just correcting this code. Okay, save. Now let me compile the code. We've got one error, right? So give the comma. Again, I would like to compile it. Yeah, compilation is done. Compilation is done. What I said to you all. So when you compile the C code, compiler translates the C code into object code. That's what I've seen I've shown you, right, like this in this image, right? So the source code will be converted into object code, and the translated code is placed in a separate file. Compiler stores the translated code in a file, but interpreter doesn't stores the translated code in a file. That's the difference between compiler and interpreter. See, I would like to show you the object file. Do you know where I'm showing, where I'm saving the C program? I think in C drive, TC, it might be bin. Demo, right? Yeah, I have got it. Yeah, this one. Demo D. This is the demo.c program. Demo.c. You can find demo. Some other file, right? See, this is another file. This is also one file. It is created at 5:56 p.m. and it is created 6:01 p.m. That is showing. Okay, my system time is okay wrong. That's why we have got this error. Okay, no problem. I'll set it. I'll leave it. So see this demo.c program is there. Demo.obj file, actually that one is obj file, object file. This is our code. See this is our code, right? So I have compiled it. Object code is generated. Who generated this object code? I am opening this .obj file in MS Word. See that code. This is called as object code for demo.c program. Okay, now tell me, object code is generated or not? Yes, object code is generated. By whom? The compiler. So C compiler translated the source code into object code. So the mannerism of compiler is always put the translated code in a separate file. See, if you give the command Control F9, see, Control F9. If you give the command Control F9, this object file will be converted into exe file, and this exe file will get executed. That is the mannerism of compiler. At the time of executing, if you are using compiler, the compiler translate this code, that might be object code, some other code, okay? That code will be translated into machine code, and that will be placed in a separate file. It always put the translated code in a file. At the time of compilation, in .obj file. At the time of execution, in .exe file. Sir, really .exe file is going to create? Yes, I'll show you. Control F9. We have got output. Now exe file will be created by the compiler. Now I'd like to see that exe file. Go to the bin, demo.c, okay, and demo.obj file, and this is the demo.exe file. Demo.c, demo.exe, demo.obj. That's it. When it is created, see 6.4, okay, just now 6.5, right? So everybody got my point, I think. What I would like to convey to you all is compiler compiles the code, means it checks for syntax errors. If the code contains no errors, it will convert the code into other code like object code, and that object code will be placed in a separate file. And if you try to run the code, you need to run the object code, which is already translated and it is error free. No errors are there in object code. Already checking is done. So now object code will be translated into machine code. And what is that compiler is doing after translating into machine code? Not directly executing every line. It translated code will be placed in a separate file, that is called 1.exe file. I have shown you, right? Thank you. This is all about compiler. Can you tell me what is interpreter and why, when we use interpreter? What is an interpreter? See, why I am telling about translators now? Is it necessary? So many students are asking this type of questions. Why are you, sir, wasting your time by explaining about translators? Yes, you are telling about, you said about assembler, which translates assembly language into machine language. Okay, we have understood it. And yet now we are talking about compilers and interpreters. Is it necessary? Why not? See, your Java is a compiled and interpreted programming language. In Java, you are using compiler and also interpreter. Do you want in-depth knowledge or not? If interviewer asks you why we are using interpreter, then what will be the answer? Java is interpreted language also, right? Because at the time of execution we use interpreter, not compiler. If interviewer asks you why you are using interpreter, do you know what is that simple answer? If you want to achieve platform independent. See, HTML is platform independent because it is interpreted language. JavaScript is platform independent because it is interpreted language. Means we are using interpreter to translate HTML and JavaScript code to machine language. PHP is also platform independent because it is interpreted language. Python platform independent because it is interpreted language. Java is also platform independent. Why? Because at the time of executing Java program I am using interpreter. C is a platform dependent programming language. We can't run the C programs which are generated in Windows platform in other platforms. You have generated now, just within few minutes before, you have generated one exe file, right? Demo.exe file. Try to execute that demo.exe file in other platform. It is Windows platform, right? Try to execute it in other platform. Linux or Unix or Mac OS or Sun Solaris, try to execute it. We cannot do it. It's not possible. Got it? So C programs are platform dependent because we are using compiler. C++ is platform dependent. You all know that because of this compiler. Why? Compiler is generating exe file, machine code. Machine code which is generated in Windows operating system will not executed in Unix or Linux. Got it? So whenever you are using compiler, which means that programming language becoming a platform dependent. If you are using compiler at execution time, please remember this point. If you are using compiler at the time of program execution, that programming language is platform dependent programming language. Automatically it will becomes platform dependent programming language. If you are using interpreter at the time of program execution, that programming language will becomes a platform independent programming language. Okay, which means if you are using interpreter, which means you can achieve platform independency. That is a biggest or main advantage of interpreter. But interpreter has many drawbacks also. Okay? Interpreter translates high level language into machine language, just like compiler. It is only used for execution. We can't use it. We can't use it for compilation. what's that disturbance? So interpreter translates high level language into machine language, and it is used for execution only. It directly executes the program without any prior compilation is needed. Okay, and it translates line by line and executes line by line. It translates one line into machine code and executes that line. It translates the second line into machine language and executes that code. It translates third line into machine language and executes the code. Line by line execution will be done in if it is interpreter. But if you see the compiler, it translates the total code into machine language and put it in a separate file. It translates the total code into object code and put it in a separate file. But interpreter doesn't do that like that. See, let us say you have written a program which has some 10 statements like Java program, okay? So you have some statements. This is your Java program. Let us say Java program 1.java. Or we can say I'll give you, okay, 1.php. So this is your code. See, to run the PHP file, we use a translator called interpreter, not compiler. Okay, so I'm just using interpreter here. So this interpreter translates the PHP code into machine code and executes that. Even execution will be done after translation. Another point is interpreter translates line by line. So which means, let us say it is a computer, right? We must have some computer also here. That's why I'm just dragging it. Yeah. Who converts that PHP code into machine code? Interpreter translates. Okay. How it translates? Interpreter reads the first line and converts into machine code and executes in computer. That's it. And you will see that line. You will see the output of that line also. Next, it reads the second line, translates into machine code, and that will be executed. It reads the third line, translated into machine code, and it will be executed here. Reads the fourth line, translates into machine code, that will be executed here. Fifth line, translation to machine code, executed. Like that, it translates and executes line by line. Interpreter, please remember this point, keep in mind, interpreter cannot place the translated code or put the translated code or keep the translated code in a separate file or in a buffer, something else. It directly executes the line by line. That's it. Translation, execution, that too line by line. See the compiler? There is lots of difference between compiler and interpreter, right? Compiler compiles the code, it cannot compile the code. Compiler also used to execute the code. Yes, it is also used to execute the code, but compiler keep the translated code into a separate file. Always keeps them in a separate file. It always places the translated code in a separate file. That's it. Compiler translates the total code at a time. If the code contains 1000 statements, compiler translates the total code at a time. But here, line by line translation and execution. See, now I'm just asking you. In which platform this 1.php file is going to execute? Can you tell me in which platform this 1.php file is going to execute? In any platform. Why? You are running the code directly. See, I'll tell you clearly why the programming languages which use interpreter translator are becoming platform independent. I'll let you know clearly now. Just a moment. Yes. So let us say we have written a PHP file. I would like to execute in any operating system. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. How it is possible? How it is becoming platform independent? 1.php file is becoming platform independent. Simple. I'll let you know. In which platform would you like to execute this PHP file? Let us say Windows platform. So in Windows platform, you'd like to execute this code, right? So let us take a computer which is installed with Windows operating system. So it is a computer with Windows operating system. So Windows OS. Can I execute this code in can I execute this PHP file in Windows operating system? Yes, absolutely. But if you want to execute this PHP file, here you need translator. Let us say Windows OS is installed with PHP software, or we can say interpreter. We have the interpreter in Windows operating system to translate PHP file, to execute PHP file? Yes. So what you did is you have installed a PHP software. Let us say you have installed PHP software. Okay, that PHP software contains PHP interpreter. That PHP interpreter, which is exists in Windows operating system, understands PHP code and converts into machine code. And that machine code will be executed here itself. That machine code will be executed here itself. And second line will be read by the interpreter. PHP interpreter reads the second line, translated into machine code, and that code will be executed here in the computer itself. Now tell me, this PHP interpreter is translating PHP line into machine code in which operating system? In Windows operating system itself. So that's why the machine code which is generating in the Windows operating system will get executed in Windows operating system without any problem. And it is reading second line, converting into machine code, where this conversion is done in Windows operating system. So that's why that machine code will be executed in Windows operating system. The main problem with the machine code is, if the machine code is generated in Windows operating system, it won't get executed in Unix operating system. But if the machine code is generated in the Windows operating system itself, yeah, that code will be executed there itself in Windows operating system. Let us say we have another computer. There I would like to execute the 1.php file. Okay, this is let us say another computer with the Unix operating system. Unix. Got it? Now, so this will be, yeah, if you want to execute the PHP file in Unix operating system, in Unix operating system also you need an interpreter, PHP interpreter. So you have to install it. So in Unix operating system, that means in your computer which is running with Unix operating system, you have to install PHP software, right? In that PHP software you'll having PHP interpreter automatically. PHP inventors introduced PHP interpreter. Java inventors introduced Java interpreter. HTML inventors introduced HTML interpreter. CSC inventors introduced CSC interpreters. R programming language inventors introduced R interpreter. Python inventors introduced Python interpreter. All interpreters are not same. All interpreters are not same. It is looking like a movie dialogue, right? All interpreters are not same. Okay. And one more thing. So you have installed PHP interpreter in Unix operating system. Now you have that interpreter, right? Yes, interpreter is there, but it is PHP interpreter. Remember this point. It's very important. Okay. So PHP interpreter is there. Now this interpreter understands the PHP file, reads the first line, and converts into machine code and executes that machine code here itself. Now tell me, the machine code which is generated in Unix operating system by the PHP interpreter, now tell me where it is generated. That machine code is generated in Unix operating system itself. That's why that machine code will get executed in Unix. This line will be translated into machine code and executed here itself, executes here itself. Third line will be read by the interpreter and translates into mission code, and that code executes here itself. Like that, every line read by the interpreter translates into mission code and executes here itself. Now tell me, where in which platform 1.php file is running? 1.php file is running in Windows operating system, because we have interpreter in that operating system. 1.php file is executing in Unix operating system. 1.html file is going to execute in Sun Solaris operating system. 1.php file is going to execute in even Mac OS also. But C program won't work like that. For C program, to execute the C program, we are using compiler. What is the job of compiler? Compiler actually translates the total code into mission code and puts it in a separate exe file, and you need to execute that exe file. If you try to execute that exe file, it will run in an operating system on which it is generated. If that exe file is generated in Windows OS, only there itself it is going to run. But comes to PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Java, R programming, Python, all these languages are called as interpreted languages, and we actually directly execute those programs. And but here the only thing is, every operating system must be installed with that operating system, particular operating system. So to run PHP programs, PHP interpreter will be there. You have to install it in your operating system. To run the Java programs, separate Java interpreters will be available on Oracle website. You need to download it and you have to install it, like that. Now tell me, what is the use of interpreter then? Interpreter translates the high level language into machine language, but it is only used to execute, and it translates line by line and executes line by line, right? It translates and executes line by line. Another one, it doesn't place the or put the code in separate file. It doesn't put the code in separate file. It doesn't put the code in separate file, just like compiler. It directly executes the code after translation. The drawback is it is slower. It is slow because line by line translation and execution, right? It is slow compared with compiled programming languages. All interpreted languages are little bit slower compared with compiled programming languages, because in compiled programming languages exe file will be generated. So the code which is translated into mission code will be placed in a separate exe file. We'll execute the exe file. Directly we will execute the exe file. See, in C, if you try to execute the code, which code you are executing? Do you know that? You will execute the .exe file which contains mission code. Means which is already translated code, executes faster. Comes to PHP file. You are executing in Windows operating system. How? In Windows operating system, line by line will be translated and executed, slow. In Unix operating system, if you want to run it, it's not an exe file. It is not already converted into mission code like C. So it has to translate line by line and execute here itself in Unix operating system also. That means execution time low. At the time of execution, translation is done. Translation is happening in interpreted programming languages. But comes to compiled programming languages, translation is already done and we are executing that translated code. Means in compiled programming languages we execute mission code. In interpreted languages we actually execute source code. Got the point? Because we execute the source code every time, translation is must. and after translation only that will get executed. Even the translation is also line by line. First line translation execution, second line translation execution, third line translation execution. That's why interpreted programming languages are slow, but we have a great future. What is that future? What is that future? Sorry, yeah, Chappy, what is that feature? Yes, that is platform independent. So main advantage of interpreted programming languages or interpreters, we can achieve platform independency. That's it. So friends, I think everybody is listening very interestingly, right? Very interestingly, I think. Last point I'd like to convey to you all, because it is almost 7 o'clock, only 3 minutes is there. So I'm going to close this session for within few minutes, but wait. I would like to tell you one more point, okay? After that you can leave the session, everyone, please. And if you have any doubts, regarding this concept, whatever the concept we have covered till now, there in the comment section, because this live stream will get updated and uploaded into the Madhu Tech Skills YouTube channel, you know that. There, while watching there, you can give the comments. If you have any doubts, in the comments itself you can give the you can ask the questions. I'll reply to everyone. And also I'm giving you my email ID, that is madhutechskills09@gmail.com. that is my email ID. If you have any doubts, please do one thing, please send your doubts through the email also. And we have another platform, you know that's WhatsApp, okay? You can ask the doubts in WhatsApp also, it's not a problem, okay? I'm here to help you all. See how many number of times you want to see watch the video, please watch it, listen to the class very carefully and try to understand it, what I would like to convey to you all, okay? Do one thing, okay? Tomorrow I'll continue the session. So what are the concepts we have covered today? What is Java? Java is a programming language. What is the use of programming languages? Programming languages are used to interact with a computer. Which language computer understands? Computer understands machine language, which means ones and zeros. If you write the program in high level language, is it possible to understand by the computer? No, computer can't understand the high level languages. It understands only ones and zeros, on and off, because it is electronic device. To translate our code, it might be a PHP file or Java file or C file or C++ program. To translate those programs into machine language, we need to use translators. Translators are three types. One is compiler, and second one is interpreter, and third one is assembler. Assembler is a translator which translates assembly language into machine language. But compiler and interpreter look same, because both are used to convert high level language into machine languages. But the difference is, by using compiler I can compile the program, then only I can run the program. But if it is a compiled programming language, in most of the cases, if you see the if you observe those languages, will generate exe file and will try to execute that code. So it is faster and it translates the total code at a time, and it displays all the errors at a time. One drawback is it displays, because it displays all the errors at a time, it is little bit difficult to debug the errors if it is compiled programming language. But interpreter displays only one error at a time, because it executes only one line. That's why interpreter displays only one error at a time. So debugging will becomes very easy in interpreter. But the problem with the interpreter is slow, because in compiled programming languages we execute the machine code. So execution is fast because already translated code, but it is platform dependent. Comes to interpreter, slow, because we execute the source code, not machine code. Other than machine code, simply we can say we can't execute the machine code directly in the if it is a interpreted programming language. We have to execute the source code. Each time if you want to execute the code, you need to convert the source code into machine code line by line and execute every line at a time. That's why it is very slow. compared with compiled programming language. But the biggest advantage is platform independency. Do you know one of the main advantages of Java is platform independent? That's why it's get more popular compared with other languages. Okay, so in tomorrow's session, I am going to teach you how to see. If you see the C program execution, we need to compile it first, and after that only we will execute. Do we have any other way to do that? Means here we are using interpreter, right? Interpreter always executes the at the time of execution. Interpreter actually translates the source code into mission code. Just like other interpreter languages, do we do the same thing? Do we do the same thing in Java also? Okay. Let me explain you that one also. Even that will be the last point here. Okay. See, in Java is a little bit different compared with other interpreter languages. It is not pure interpreter language. It is a compiled and interpreted language, which means Java inventors, they thought that, hey, let us compile the code first, and after that execute the code. Why the compilation? Checking syntax errors is must. That will be checking before execution is the good process, right? That's why Java inventors introduced a compiler also. So let us say it is a Java program. They were introduced a compiler. That compiler translates the Java code into bytecode. So compiler actually compiles the code, checks for syntax errors. It is called as Java compiler. If our Java code contains no errors, syntax errors, then Java compiler translates the Java code into bytecode. Bytecode is not a mission code, remember that point. Bytecode is not a mission code. It is called bytecode. Bytecode is not a mission code. Let us say it is bytecode. So to run the bytecode, we use actually interpreter. So here we need interpreter. Java interpreter, which actually runs the code, which actually runs this bytecode. Okay, this Java interpreter translates the bytecode into mission code, and that mission code will get executed here itself. So why they were introduced compiler, Java compiler? Is there any need? Do you know Java is called as platform independent because of this interpreter? We can run this bytecode in any operating system, in any computer. We can run this bytecode in Windows operating system. We can run this bytecode in Unix operating system. We can run this bytecode in Sun Solaris operating system. We can run this bytecode in Mac OS. Anywhere we can run this bytecode, because this bytecode can be executed by Java interpreter, no problem. If you take the PHP is executable in any operating system. That there PHP code will be translated into mission code by the interpreter. But here in Java, we compile the code first, bytecode will be generated. Bytecode is error-free code, it contains no syntax errors. So we are in Java compared with other interpreter languages, little bit different thing is happening. In Java, we are executing error-free code. So we are compiling prior to execution by using Java compiler, which translates the bytecode sorry, which translates the source code into bytecode. That bytecode is only understandable by the Java interpreter. No other interpreter can understand the bytecode. That bytecode will be translated into machine code here in the computer itself, and that code will execute here itself. Thank you guys. Tomorrow also I'll discuss about it, because it is we are in out of time. Okay, I have the another classes also. So thank you all guys. Thank you all for your patience, and please in WhatsApp let me know how is this class, and if you have any doubts, please let me know. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Okay, I'm always available for you all. If you have any doubts, I'll clarify you clearly. Okay, thank you all. Please utilize this opportunity so that everybody can learn without affording money. Thank you all guys. Once again, me Madhu, sorry, yours Madhu. Okay, thank you all. Bye. I'm gonna stop this live session.